save her from trouble. Tell me, do you think I ought to have stopped the ceremony then, at the first moment of my realization that I was being married?" The mother's face had softened as she watched him, and listened to his tender words about Celia, and now she answered gently: "I am not sure. Perhaps not. It was a very grave question to face. I don't know that I can blame you for doing nothing. It would have been terrible for her, and us, and everybody, and have made it all so public. Oh, I think you did right not to do anything publicly, perhaps; and yet it is terrible to me to think you have been forced to marry my daughter in that way." "Please do not say forced, mother," said Gordon, laying both hands earnestly upon hers, and looking into her eyes. "I tell you one thing that held me back from doing anything was that I so earnestly desired that what I was passing through might be real and lasting. I have never seen one like her before. I know that if the mistake had been righted, and she had passed out of my life, I should never have felt the same again. I am glad, glad with all my heart that she is mine; and, mother, I think she is glad too." The mother turned toward her daughter, and Celia, with starry eyes, came and knelt before them, and laid her hands in the hands of her husband, saying with ringing voice: "Yes, dear little mother, I am gladder than I ever was before in my life." And kneeling thus, with her husband's arm about her, her face against his shoulder, and both her hands clasped in his, she told her mother about the tortures that George Hayne had put her through, until the mother turned white with horror at what her beloved and cherished child had been enduring, and the brother got up and stormed across the floor, vowing vengeance on the luckless head of poor George Hayne. Then, after the mother had given her blessing to the two, and Jeff had added an original one of his own, there was the whole story of the eventful wedding trip to tell, which they both told by solos amid choruses, until the hour grew alarmingly late, and the mother suddenly sent them all off to bed. The next few days were both busy and happy ones for the two. They went to the hospital, and gladdened the life of the little newsboy with fruit and toys and many promises; and they brought home a happy white dog from his boarding place, whom Jeff adopted as his own. Gordon had a trying hour or two at court with his one-time host, the scoundrel who had stolen the cipher message, and the thick-set man glared at him from a cell window, as he passed along the corridor of the prison, whither he had gone in search of George Hayne. Gordon, in his search for the lost bridegroom, whom for many reasons he desired to find as soon as possible, had asked the help of one of the men at work on the Holman case, in searching for a certain George Hayne, who needed very much to be brought to justice. "Oh, you won't have to search for him," declared the man with a smile. "He's safely landed in prison 3 days ago. He was caught as neatly as rolling off a log by the son of the man whose name he forged several years ago. It was trust money of a big corporation, and the man died in his place in a prison cell. But the son means to see the real culprit punished." And so Gordon, in the capacity of Celia's lawyer, went to the prison to talk with George Hayne, and that miserable man found no excuse for his sins when the searching talk was over. Gordon did not let the man know who he was, and merely made it understood that Celia was married, and that if he attempted to make her any further trouble, the whole thing would be exposed, and he would have to answer a grave charge of blackmail. The days passed rapidly, and at last the New York matter for which Gordon's presence was needed was finished, and he was free to sail away with his bride. On the morning of their departure, Gordon's voice rang out over the miles of telephone wires to his old chief in Washington. "I am married, and am just starting on my wedding trip. Don't you want to congratulate me?" And the old chief's gruff voice sounded back: "Good work, old man. Congratulations for you both. She may or may not be the best girl in all the world. I haven't had a chance to see yet. But she's a lucky girl, for she's got the best man I know. Tell her that for me. Bless you both. I'm glad she's going with you. It won't be so lonesome." Gordon gave her the message that afternoon, as they sailed straight into the sunshine of a beautiful new life together. "Dear," he said, as he arranged her steamer rug more comfortably about her, "has it occurred to you that you are probably the only bride who ever married the best man at her wedding?" Celia smiled appreciatively, and after a minute replied mischievously, "I suppose every bride thinks her husband is the best man." CHAPTER XIX. End of The Best Man.